What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another watch list video. Happy Tuesday. Um, Nice bounce overall in the market today. You could take a look at breadth, which I'll start off with, I guess, because that'll kind of be my gauge for the overall bounces in the market, right? Really good breadth day for sure. But when I'm scanning through the charts, it's a lot of stuff that's been beaten down so hard that's kind of either short covering or just finally getting a bounce after getting destroyed. But really nice breadth day. You can even look at Pradeep, same thing, 460 stocks up, 130 down. It was a really nice breadth day. Okay, that's all I can say. That's really good. There were some names that got back above their 50. There were some nice price gaining names today, percentage wise. That'll definitely keep on my list for some sideways. But yeah, it wasn't a whole lot that was super interesting. Maybe there was a few names that you could have gotten as a mean reversion. Me personally, I haven't really seen any. Possibly some double bottoms trying to carve out some undercut and rallies, but it's hard to chase a gap up. So today's maybe day one of a bounce in certain things, and we'll see what's to come. There's definitely some earnings coming up in the next few weeks, as well as tomorrow after the close, which I'll go over. But looking at the futures market here, you're getting a little bit of a gap up in your Kospi. Not anything. Oops. There we go. You're getting a little bit of a gap up in your Kospi. Not anything I am too obsessed with. We'll see how that acts tomorrow. Boats, EWY, right, pushing right into prior support, which is probably a spot where I'm going to be thinking that this is going to be a resistance. Will be super interested to see how it reacts there. Assuming that it's going to reject, right? Crude oil, speaking of futures, right, gets back above its 50-day right just now. In the futures market, it's had a pretty massive rally, right? V bottom, pretty much right off the lows. Would like to see it build at the right side of its base, but I mean, if it does, it'll be kind of like a rejection of the 50. And I mean, you look at like PBF, which is absolutely unreal. Dino, I think, is still going. Like, these names are still chugging higher. PBF it could possibly get pretty parabolic here in the next few days if it goes straight up like this. So that'll be super interesting. Besides that, crude's still chugging along. The dollar, nice move today, right? Broke out of that triple inside day. The weekly chart looks awesome. It's got an inside week so far this week, so maybe a few days sideways. And I mean, you're pretty much fresh out of a flag. Is it going to get another failure? Maybe. But, this looks pretty positive to me for the dollar, not for your overall markets. But we'll see. It was interesting to see this up today, as well as the markets. Who's lying? I feel like we're kind of seeing that, and it just kind of feels like the market's waiting for those earnings to kick in to really let us know. So definitely best for me to just sit patient and not do too much, right? Copper, also another one where you had a really nice move today. I think SCCO is one of the more attractive names to me. Big move, could be carving out a big base here on the weekly chart. Could even zoom out here, right? You can kind of see it, but I need the actual setup now for me. Nice hold of the 200. Interesting for sure. It definitely goes on my universe kind of list. I talked about breadth, QQQ, right? I look at a weekly and it looks pretty good. Same thing with a lot of these charts. Like they're putting in some nice inside weeks. So we'll see what these earnings in Tesla and Google will bring us, right? But Tesla looks disgusting. That could change with the gap up for sure. I think the best case scenario on Tesla is like it breaks down tomorrow before the earnings report, right into the shit emoji, and then you get like a 20% gap up, and then I would feel completely different about the stock. But until then, I don't know. Google, another one, reports tomorrow. Super ugly action. Just absolutely doing nothing really until the earnings. But it did reject the 50, so that is what it is. But yeah, going back to the QQQ, right? Nice gap, or nice, yeah, pretty much a gap up today, and some sort of a little push. That was interesting, but there's so much overhead supply. You gap down 3 days in a row right in here. So, you got to resistance gap. We powered through this resistance gap, so we need to get back above the 50. If we get back above the 50, I'll feel different, but until now it's kind of guilty until proven innocent for me. So we'll see how we react to this gap spot right about here, right? You got some overhead supply there. That'll be interesting, as well as the 50-day. So I will go over some of the things I'm looking at. SMH, same thing, same story. Obviously SMH, you see the mags bounce last week, the week before, and the memory get destroyed, the market goes sideways. And then, today you get memory and semis bouncing, and the mags is, pretty much going down the last few days and just resting, like an NVIDIA, pretty much just resting for a few days. Amazon, pretty much just resting. Doesn't look bad. We'll see what's to come. But SMH, I don't know. I can't be too positive about this yet. Lots of overhead supply. And you got Marvell, super nasty 3-day low volume bounce, short covering kind of bounce. Intel, same thing kind of. I will say Intel is maybe a little bit different, where you undercut the low, and you kind of rally back through it today. I thought the rejection yesterday was ugly, but today could possibly be a character change. We'll see, though. It's not anything I'm too obsessive over. Lots of overhead supply. Needs to make a bigger move maybe, and then go sideways, and we'll see. Like maybe, make a real leg up here and then get tight under the 50. That's best case scenario, but don't want to be thinking that too far out. That's how you know stuff's not looking too pretty still just yet. Arm, kind of same thing where you had a big support area. We're kind of coming into that. Could that be resistance? Maybe, probably, most likely. Declining SMAs is another thing to watch. DRAM, right? DRAM, another one where you come into the left side low, you undercut it, and you rally back through today. Interesting inside day yesterday. Didn't know if it was going to break down or not. Kind of in no man's land, like I said, but overhead supply, we just need to push through all this overhead supply and make a real big move. Can earnings bring that? Maybe. Maybe there's a few positive earnings where we have a really nice start to a leg up. I don't think this is a start to a leg up yet, and obviously nobody knows that. Nobody knows shit. That'll all be known in hindsight, but a nice move up back above the 50 would make me maybe think that we could get something started, but then the sideways action would need to follow, right? MU, though, I will say, this to me is a character change day. You had the undercut, the rally, which is pretty much today. Super nice. Not something I would be personally buying, but you're back above the 50, you're back above the 10 and 20, you undercut the bottom of the base, you're rallying right back through it in a pretty sharp way. So it's definitely super interesting. I think out of all of them, that's interesting. SanDisk, kind of similar thing. It's still below the 50 in the 10 and 20, right? Flattening 50, declining 10 and 20, but you come into the huge support level, you undercut it inside day yesterday. I thought it was going to break down more. It looked like it wanted continuation, kind of an expectation breaker today with the gap and hold at highs. Interesting. Not something I want to be buying, but could possibly be that kind of character change, the start maybe of a character change, not anything too much, right? You look at like mags, like I said, just kind of going sideways, not doing a whole lot. Last few days though, we're not at the highs anymore that we were at, like last week, but Tesla, Google tomorrow will be super interesting. XLF, super nice sideways, right? You look at GS, looks pretty good, nice inside day. Morgan Stanley, not bad. JPM looks fine, and then Hood, another one, had super nice day today in that financials area. Did reject that 10-day pretty much, so just get back above that. Wasn't a bad inside day yesterday, and you kind of get a follow through above, like, what is that? Friday's highs was not bad, almost an OEL today. Actually, it was an OEL today, so that's pretty interesting. But I don't know, not something I'm buying. Something I'm just monitoring, keep an eye on if it can continue to act good, right? You got the 50-day moving average is a huge spot on a lot of names, right? The way I mean, obviously the QQQ, same thing. So obviously you're going to see that in majority of the stocks, right? The 50-day flattening out pretty much is going to be a huge area. Are we going to reject there? Are we going to get back above it, push through it in a big way? I don't know. Nobody knows. We'll see what earnings can bring. Focus is on, for me personally, the names holding above there. I'll go through my list now. AMD, a name, speaking of, holding above its 50-day, super nice rally back through the 50-day today, right? Obviously yesterday was your gap up and then you close ugly on it and then you had a nice day today. Super nice. It is trying to carve out a base, which looks good. It looks super shitty and choppy in here. I love the shakeout in the bottom of the base. Shakes out all the weak hands, gets back through the 50, nice bar today, go sideways for a few days or have another up day and then go sideways. Give us a setup and maybe some more stocks continue to bounce over the next few days. Band, another one that's been holding up so well. Nice flag building right under a pivot. Looks like maybe a cup with handle, almost kind of little base coming out here. Double inside week so far. Looks awesome. I'll watch this one over the prior day high, see if it can get going. It is in that software group. Some software names took a rest today. Cybersecurity definitely did. But I also want to throw some shorts up on here. Cisco, your prior support, maybe that becomes resistance. You got a double inside day. Are we going to expectation break in a lot of spots and push right back through this level and possibly the 50-day? Maybe. I don't think I'm going to short this. Honestly, I don't even need this on the list. Not really an idea I care too much about, but double inside day maybe looks like it wants to break down. DDOG, I don't want to give up on this name just yet until it loses that 20-day, and then we'll see. But it's right back pretty much at the bottom of the range. Not terrible action. It's building a nice range, and I want to keep an eye on this range because out of all the charts that are breaking down, this one's still holding up and building sideways, which is my favorite. So continuing to watch that. I love the tightness, but it did just build a lower high. So I don't know if it's going to break down here, lose the bottom of the range, shake everybody out of the bottom of the range, or if it is going to hold up here, maybe have a nice update tomorrow and then maybe continue to get tight, maybe some more actionable stuff. Dell, I don't know how to feel about this double inside day. rejecting kind of the top of the mother bar slash the 10 and 20. But, can we push through this area? I will watch. Can this be a higher low off the 50-day? It looks like it possibly could be. You flip to a weekly inside week, another one that's got the inside week that doesn't look too bad. Super interesting. HPE right there with Dell. You look at the weekly chart, double inside week, looks pretty good on a weekly, not a bad day today. Pretty much an OEL today. Yeah, you're back above the 10, 20, but just, I don't know. I think this is up in the after hours here. So yeah, you are seeing a nice push in the after hours, which will be super interesting, right? Maybe come up to the top of the pivot, then get sideways for a few days while some of the rest of the names report, and we will see that. Okay, another short name, Hut. Right, you saw the WGMI have a nice. You saw the WGMI have a 3-day rally, just gapping and gapping and gapping. It would be super interesting if it doesn't fill these gaps, but just a V bounce like this, I can't help but want to short the names like Hut, right into the decline, or flattening 50 and right into a resistance gap. That's definitely a spot where I'll watch. Continue to watch for a short. I think Cypher is right there too, but Cypher was another one that was interesting until it kind of didn't close above the 50. But either way, I think this is not bad. I mean, you look at the left pivot here. Maybe if you were able to get short right at that spot on a failure of there or of that level, could have been nice too. Maybe wasn't a horrible spot, but definitely interesting, as well as obviously you got that gap there, right, that you came right into at the very top right there. So that's another spot, right? So you had a nice gap, nice pivot. That was a good area to maybe try a short. I know a few people probably got that one. That's interesting. That 2 tight days, 2 tight inside days. It's another one building out sideways. It looks pretty good. The weekly chart inside week, not too bad. Definitely of interest to me, as it looks like it wants to build higher lows. It looks like really nice relative strength. You're coming off of a nice gap from July 7th. Super interesting. We'll see if it can continue to hold up. Market environment shifts. This is a name that probably can get going. Same thing with AMD. These are the names I want to be focusing on to buy, and not short. No way I'd be trying to short this AMD. I'd rather be short in like the laggards, stuff that's been getting hit, right, where you're seeing clear selling. This name is not backing down whatsoever. It's just carving out a base. I think that's awesome. Okta, same thing as far as DDOG. Continue building out sideways. Not a bad candle off the 20-day today. Give us an inside day tomorrow. Would be super interesting. Holding up extremely well. Still in its range. Not breaking down. Love to see that. Palo Alto, same thing. Almost maybe my favorite out of this bunch, right? Looks super cool. Or it looks super awesome. Inside week so far. I own this name, and I just hope it continues doing its doing. Give us an inside day tomorrow. Maybe a real undercut of the 20 as a spot to grab it. I'll watch that for sure. Reddit, not a bad day today. You're back through the 200-day inside day. I will watch a push over today's high. Get back above the 10, 20 would be super interesting. Another inside week here. Maybe trying to build out. This one reminds me of Hood. We look at the weekly chart. Nice inside week. Continue to act good and build out here would be super interesting. Looks like it's trying to build a higher low here. Obviously, looking at a Reddit, it looks like trying to build a higher low here compared to the other lows. So super interesting spot. Will watches over the prior day. One of my favorite long setups here for sure. That's been showing relative strength in like the last month. Snow continues to build out here. Super awesome. I love that. And I just want it to keep going. It looks like it could be a wick play for tomorrow, right? Not a bad wick there, but something I'll just continue to monitor, continue to watch for some sideways. The weekly chart doesn't look too bad, so but just keep building out, right? It is kind of wedging up here and channeling higher, so just continue. It's starting to go sideways ever since like this down day right here. It's kind of starting to go sideways, so continue doing that. Build out a nice base. Looks awesome. WDC, one of my favorite names on the list right now. Short at the 50 days, what I'll be paying attention to. I don't know if we're getting a gap up in the after hours. Yeah, just slightly a gap up in the after hours, so I'll watch for a failure of that area if we can breach it. If not, I'll look for some other spots to get short off. But I think a bounce like this right off support, 3 days, this thing's up almost 30% right off the lows. To me, it looks like a short spot is a nice opportunity here. So we'll pay attention to this one tomorrow. We'll be watching it for a short, for it to roll over. Some percent gainers today. AEHR was interesting. ACMR, not bad, back through the 50. I think ICHR also held the 50. Super nice. TXG, right? Your genomic stuff. I think ARCG, not a bad day today. XBI, kind of same thing, where you just had a there's like twist. This volatility is absolutely disgusting, so I'm not touching a name like this. But TXG, obviously your leader, super nice to see it continue leading. This name is super strong. CRS, another one, back to the 20-day. This one's held up above the 50. Nice. ATI, I can go through this list. There's some names that look good, right, but they just need sideways and these setups. They need to trade And it's funny because the market's been sideways for so long. Yeah, Bitcoin I think is another one. Lastly, I'll just leave it up there. Not a bad rally today, right? Coming right up into the pivot. Is that going to be a short area while we just continue building out what could be like a stage one kind of base? Would be super interesting. I think Ethereum's getting close to the 200 day, or at least closer than Bitcoin, kind of similar. But that'll be interesting to see if we rally into that and how we act. I just want to see this stuff get back above the 200 day. But that's going to be it for me. I appreciate you guys all for watching. Continue to sit on my hands. I'll have my popcorn ready tomorrow for your Tesla and Google. But yeah, there's lots of earnings coming up. Best to be patient. Power earnings gaps and big earnings gaps that just, provide setups after, whether it's a higher low, a sweep of the earnings candle low, a tight consolidation, flag, high volume close. Like, there's so many setups that can come from a stock gapping up on earnings. So that's definitely what I'm going to be paying attention to. And the majority of the best setups I've ever studied come off of an earnings gap, and that's when stocks make their biggest moves ever. I think like one I can just randomly remember is CIN, right? This name was not the greatest, but everything started at $115 when it gapped up on earnings, and it made an absolute massive run, never closed below the 50 until it did, and then it finally rolled over. But monster stocks can get started all from an earnings gap. Qualcomm, I think back in 1999, same thing. It gapped up on earnings, right? And that was what started everything for it. So definitely interesting. Earnings is the most important thing, and being patient before earnings and into earnings is also the most important thing to preserve your physical capital in your portfolio as well as your mental capital, because you want to be mentally ready, right? You don't want to be out here trading a shitload right now, over trading mediocre setups, trading maybe setups that look decent but are failing because the environment is not there. Have that situational awareness. Be patient, and we'll see what this earnings season can do. But I will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.